to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Raw, the Fight Within. Delighted to be joined by a very long-term friend of mine.
Yes.
Seems like you've been on the scene for ages and not at the same time. Mr. Anthony YARDE. What's happening, mate? You good?
I'm good, man. Fantastic.
Obviously, I appreciate this is a quite important part of your boxing career as you close in on a fight very soon. So we're going to come away from that for a minute just to get you out of that. So, like I said, I appreciate your time on that. So I'm going to ease you in really gently to this, and then we're going to see how deep we can get into Anthony YARDE. Really? What was your first ever memories of boxing, period, when you were growing up?
Mike Tyson, MT. For me, it was so intriguing to see like a small guy knock out a big guy. Like, when I first started, not even when I first started, but when I first had an encounter with boxing, I didn't know nothing about weight classes, just like your average boxing fan or your average normal everyday citizen. They don't really know nothing about boxing, like the logistics of it. All we really know is they're fighting. Do you get what I'm saying? So I saw a small guy knocking out a big guy, so for me it was intriguing.
Do you actually remember the first fight you ever went to? Whether it was amateur or whatever it was, do you remember the first time you was actually at a boxing fight?
The first fight I ever went to live was Derek Chisora against Tyson Fury, the second fight.
Oh, really?
So that's the first fight I ever went to. That's when I first started boxing. I'm sure it was 2013 or 12, just off the top of my head, because I remember that's when I first started boxing.
On the undercard of Billy Joe and Eubank?
Yes. No, was it?
Yeah, that was the second fight was on that.
So
the first one was at Wembley Arena.
Yeah.
That was a Hennessy show on Channel 5, I'm pretty certain that was.
And what year was that, do you know?
It's pretty much when IFL first started, so I reckon about 11 or 12. See,
that's what I'm saying. So it was a long time ago. And it was a crazy event, man.
So just picking this back up, you were talking about the Fury and Chisora first fight.
Yeah.
Seems like a long time ago.
It seems like such a long time ago. It's like a milestone because they just had their third fight, their trilogy fight. And that's when I started boxing. And then now I'm about to have the biggest fight of my life. Like, a lot of things are like connecting. So to me, it's not coincidence.
You talk about Mike Tyson now. Was Mike Tyson the first boxer that kind of got you into boxing, so to speak?
100%. Because I'd heard of boxing before. I'd heard the name Muhammad Ali. I'd heard the name Sugar Ray Leonard. But I never really knew who they was, what they was about, what they did, how they fought, nothing like that. Sugar Robertson. But then when I actually watched Mike Tyson, and I got so intrigued in his life story, like who he was as a person, where he came from. And then when I heard his background, I said, well, so it must be attainable then. Because if he come from that, and he ended up being who he is, it must be attainable. But again, when I watched it, I used to watch a fight that was old. So they said it was 1991. That's when I was born. And I used to get nervous. I used to be like, how's he doing this? Because obviously I've become a fan of him. And then I'm watching him fight, a fight that's already happened, and I'm getting all nerves. I'm like, how's he doing this? How's he fighting in front of the world? Like, how's he fighting all these cameras? I'm seeing everyone crowding him and he's walking out. And I say to myself, I could never be a boxer, ever. And now I'm here. So that's what I'm saying. You never know how that's going to plan out.
This is quite an interesting one for you, and I'm always interested to ask people, especially fighters, what do you think you'd be doing if you weren't in the industry of boxing?
Selling them bricks, baby. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking now. You know what? From when I was in school, I was always like inquisitive. I wanted to know. I used to ask questions. I used to ask so many questions. I used to annoy teachers. So a teacher would tell me something. I'd be like, yeah, but why? Teach me algebra. And I'm like, but how does this apply to life? Like, am I going to use this when I leave school? Just do the work. No. Just do the work. Explain it to me. You're a teacher. Teach me. So I was one of them kind of students. I wasn't rude. I wasn't disrespectful, but I used to be inquisitive. I used to ask a lot of questions and I always wanted to learn. In my era, again, I'm a bit older than these new kids. They're used to internet. They're used to social media. I was on MSN days, you know, when we just started getting Google, and you get what I'm saying? Like the logo comes up,
Yeah.
you put on the laptop, the London's flat screen stuff. And when I discovered, I didn't even really discover it, but my personal discovery of the internet and what you could do on it, I just thought, this is information. I was on Google every day. I got caught up in the whole Illuminati business. Like, what's that all about? You can't be rich and famous without being an Illuminati, all these hoaxes, all these things. And I said to myself, nah, this don't seem like it's real. Some parts of it might be real, like it all adds up, but I said to myself, nah, some of these people are just normal people, like hard-working people. I started to see the normal habits. And then I just started to believe. I don't know where it come from. Again, that's why in my interviews, you always hear me talking about God and my belief in God and things like that, because God is the only explanation to me of why I'm here today, considering what I've been through, the positions I've been put in my life. Yeah.
Do you remember the first ever time, like away from any kind of boxing situation, the first serious argument or fight that you got into as a kid? I'm not suggesting that you did that. I'm asking everyone's got one of them.
100%, man. You know what? So, the first ever fight I had, like a fist fight, it was 2-on-1. So it was 2 boys against me. And this is when I discovered I could fight, because it was fight or flight mode. It was one of them situations where it's either I fight back or I'm just gonna get beaten up. And similar situation to when I first saw Mike Tyson boxing, I got nervous for him, and I was like, I could never do that. So it was 2 boys when I was in primary school, they used to bully me. Or they used to try to bully me anyway. And it all started from my kindness. So 2 boys, they were in the line, they were arguing about a pound, who found the pound. And they were friends. So I had that £3 on me in my pocket, and I only needed £1. I was only gonna get some sweets, I had a packed lunch. And they were really arguing. So I turned back in the queue and I said, like, who needs the £1? Like, oh, cool, now you both got £1. So they were like, oh, thank you, man. Yeah, man, thank you, or whatever. And then the next day, it was, oh yeah, can I have £1, please? Again, I had my mom used to give me like £3 every day to get what I wanted, little sweets or whatever. So I said, oh yeah, cool. Gave him £1. Next day, the other boy come to me, where's my £1? So I started laughing. I said, what do you mean, where's my £1? Like, that's not manners. My mom didn't teach me. That's how you ask for something. He's like, no, where's my £1? And he tried to start going in my pockets. So I slapped his hand and I said, what are you doing? So he's like, okay, watch. So I got a bit nervous. I was like, what does he mean by watch? And then playtime come now. I see them in the playground. I'm trying to avoid them because it was a bit aggressive the way he said, watch. They come up to me, he's like, what are you saying now? What are you saying now? Bare close to my face, whatever. I'm like, move, man, move. You know when you're in primary school, everything's all innocent. You're like, move, man, move. So then one of the boys like kind of put his head into my head, like headbutting me or whatever. Like, give me £1. I got scared, I gave him £1. Next day, same thing. So I was angry. I didn't want to go to school. I was like, this is bullying. Anyway, long story short, they got another boy involved. A boy, I remember he was ginger. And he was like a bully in their year, they were the year above me. And then they caught me like in the alleyway. Not the alleyway, but like, you know, a corridor, no one was there. They grabbed me. They took all the pounds out of my pocket, £3. They took all of it. Took all of the money. And then one of the boys, the ginger boy, like grabbed my face. Like he was holding my face like this and rubbing my face. I was so angry. Like, this is when I first knew what anger was, real anger. So I remember I sat down on the floor and I was just crying. I was so angry. And I was, you know, Dragon Ball Z, you know, you see them powering up. I was on the floor doing that. And then obviously, when I got all the anger out, I stood up, I wiped away my tears, I went to my class like normal. But then, I was scared to go to school. So like the next few days or whatever, I was trying to avoid going to school. My mum would drop me to the school. I was trying to like slide out and go back to my nan's house. Just two boys, yeah. And then I told one boy that I was close with in their year. He like stuck it on them. And then they left me for like 2 weeks and they came back. And then my older sister, she was 8 years older than me, so she was in secondary school. She come down to the school, slapped one of the boys in his head, took his pound. I was like, wait, how do you like it? My sister was a bit like raggy, a bit aggy when she was younger. And then that was the worst thing she did. It just made it worse. And then, anyway, that thing diluted. I think they were in year 6, I was in year 5, so they were getting ready to leave school. Secondary school come now, they went to Rokaby, I went for a skate. And then now, obviously, when you're going to secondary school, you're starting to get a bit of a bit edge to you, like you're around older people, you're getting thicker skinned or whatever. And I remember I was on a 308 bus and I saw them. And I said, oh my gosh. You know, you get that nervous feeling again. And I didn't know if they saw me or not. So I got off, they were getting on the bus, I got off the bus. I don't know why these boys got off the bus as well. So then I'm walking fast down this road. And then the boys are saying, they're calling me, Anthony, Anthony, Anthony. And then they started jogging. I'm walking fast, I'm power walking. I'm like in year 8. And then now they look different. They got like little beards. Like 2 Asian boys, yeah, so they got like beards. So then they stopped me, they're like, what's your name? I was like, oh, like Dwayne, that's my middle name. I was like, Dwayne. They were like, no, they started laughing. I was like, your name's Anthony. I was like, no, my name's Dwayne. So like, oh, where's my pound? They started laughing or whatever. Anyway, this is how the first fight started happening. We're in my pocket. Obviously, I'm a bit older now, so I pushed his hand. I said, what are you doing? The boy headbutted me so hard in my eye. I remember this eye as well, yeah. So I went, listen, I saw like, you know when you see like a little flash? I lost my mind. I went absolutely, after this, I started to like generate a bit of a temper. So when I was in school, people in Anthony had a bad temper. He was nice, always laughing and stuff, but he had a bad temper. I hurt these 2 boys. Like I hit one, he didn't get back up for the rest of the fight. And then the other one, I was going nuts. And then I gained a lot of confidence from it. So it's like that was my defense mechanism. When I was younger, anything happened, anger. I used to get angry so quick. And then, yeah, that's the first ever encounter I had where, when we got older, like 6th form times, these boys, Anthony, what you say, how you, bro? It was with all respect. So sometimes that's how you make friends, by fighting.
It cost you £1 a day?
£1 a day, but for about a week, solid week, I was losing £1 a day.
I'd go back and claim your £7, £5 or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you remember a time in particular, or the last time you felt in your life that you were fighting a losing battle?
Do you know what, the first, again, I'm an honest person, I will bring in a relationship. So I had a girlfriend, and no matter how hard I tried at the time, bro, this thing was not working. You know, I'm one of the people, it's like, I had this conversation the other day as well. I was like, there's a difference between being faithful and being loyal. I'm a very, very loyal person. It's in my DNA. It's like, it's just the way I'm built. If I'm with you, I'm with you. That's it. There's no going back. Everyone's human. Everyone makes mistakes. We can add to our team. We can make ourselves stronger. We can both go and learn. But the loyalty is there, unless you mess up. Like until it tells me, I can't forgive you. That's just where I'm built. So this girl, I was a bit younger. It's the older days, the younger days. I mean, no matter what I did with this girl, I realized I started to think she had a bit of a problem. I was like, "You're right. Like I saw you do this. Do I need camera footage? You saw yourself do it. You heard yourself say this. You're saying you didn't say it, or you're saying you didn't do it. It was mad." And then obviously, as I got more and more involved with her, and then people that I knew that she knew, people started saying to me like, "Yeah, like she's a little bit like when it comes to that kind of thing, she's a bit mad." Yeah. But again, I'm one of them people. When I was younger, I used to try and nurture people. I used to try and help people. I was that lean on my shoulder. I'll help you. I could help someone. You know, they say, "Can you swear on this?" You know, save a hole. It was that kind of situation. But that was a situation where I could say, you're fighting a losing battle. You know, I'm one of the people as well. I learn from my past mistakes. That relationship situation will make me see certain characteristics with my friends. You're doing that same thing you did like a couple of weeks ago. No, you're doing that same shit you did a couple of weeks ago, or you did that to him. What makes you think you won't do that to me? I pick up on things like characteristics, character traits. So yeah, it helps you throughout life.
What are the like everyday battles in your life aside from boxing?
Yeah.
When you wake up in the morning, do you have anything that you would consider an everyday battle currently in your life?
I think what everyone goes through, food. You know, really and truly, we want to be the best versions of ourselves. You know, I'll say the 2 biggest temptations to a man first before it is to a woman, I would say. Obviously, women have the temptations with sex, but for men, it would be food and sex. In that order. For me, anyway. For me, my 2 biggest challenges is food and sex. I used to say food and females. And And they're the two things I focus on the most because that for me creates discipline. Like I go gym every day because I know what sport I'm involved in. Some fighters ain't like this, but I've got a mentality of that. I started boxing when I was late. I started boxing late. I started boxing at 19 years old, or just before I turned 19 years old. I had dreams and aspirations of being unified world champion, different weight class world champion. I had all these big dreams and ambitions. So I said, okay, cool. Rule number one, you need to be in the gym every day. You're behind. These guys have been boxing from 8, 9 years old. You need to be in the gym every day. You're playing catch up. But then there's that thing of when your hormones kick in, chemicals get released in your brain, or the chemicals get released in your brain when you want food, like you want a sweet, or you're thinking about cookie dough and pizza. They're the challenges for me.
Do you know what? That's mad, because a friend of mine told me this a couple of years ago. He said if he's trying to lay off chocolate, what he does is he buys loads of chocolate and
do the same thing
and has it in front of him every day, because if it's not there, that's the easy part of the reason why you're not taking the chocolate. He used to do it with alcohol as well. He used to go for a week and not drink, but he used to buy the drink and leave it there. So there's no excuses to why he's not doing it. It's there. If he wants it, he can have it. So I think you have to have a pretty strong mindset in life in general with anything. Well, I use chocolate as an example because that's an example. But I'm not saying you to line up women at your place every day. I'm not suggesting you to do that. It's a good idea. But you understand that mentality.
That whole concept of what you just said, I'd done that without knowing what I was doing. So early in my career, when again you're making weight, a thing that people don't know about boxing is they just see the fight. That you're in boxing, so you don't. 9 times out of 10, people don't know about the making weight, different weight classes. Heavyweights, they don't have to do weight classes. They don't have to make weight. They have to be in shape, but they don't have to make a weight class. In other weight classes, that's why you see us at weigh-ins, we look very small or slim compared to what we usually do. Then we got to rehydrate and things like that. But early in my career, when I was learning on how to make weight and being disciplined and things like that, I've done that. I still do it now. I'll go Tesco, Sainsbury's, I'll buy chocolate, I'll buy sweets, and I'll just have them there. But if I didn't have them there, I will go and buy them and do the binging thing. I will crave and I'll be like, I want a chocolate, trying to occupy myself, And then when I do go and buy it, I'm eating it in the shop because I've got that craving so high, I need it now. Whereas like, they say, a man that hasn't had sex, or a man that's been locked away, when he gets the opportunity now, he's there, he's ready, but then if it's always there for him, he's like, oh no, I can do that tomorrow, I can do that next week. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's accessible. When something's accessible, you don't value it as much. So again, I think that's the concept behind it.
We can apply this to a lot of things in life, which we won't, but I'm saying we can apply it to a lot of things of, what you said about, I was going to use the term supply and demand, but it is kind of like that. When it's readily available, whatever it is, whatever aspect we're talking about here, if it's readily available, it loses its appeal.
100%, 100%.
Talk to me about a time that you remember, or the last time you felt like you were having to fight back tears.
Fight back tears?
Were you emotional? Would you call yourself emotional?
I'm not emotional. Or maybe I've learned to tame my emotion. And maybe that's based on movies I've watched, interviews I've watched of, I call them powerful people because you have to be powerful to have discipline. Mike Tyson said it, without discipline, we're nothing. You could be so talented. You get someone that's talented, they work hard, but without discipline, nothing. That's how Tyson does it, he cuts off the word, nothing. You get what I'm saying? Because that's the thing that separates people. Discipline. That word discipline, I heard Bernard Hopkins as well talk about discipline. If you ain't got discipline in this world, it's not that you're nothing, because you're obviously a human being, you've been blessed by God to be part of His creation. But stop talking about all these dreams and aspirations because you ain't got no discipline. That's a decision. You're making the wrong decision. You're not having a strong mindset in terms of saying, I want this, so this is more important than that. That's discipline. I'm going to do this because that's more important than that. That's discipline. I'm not going to have that chocolate because that's more important than that. That's discipline. I really want that girl. I really want to stay up all night talking to that girl. But discipline. I want that more. Do you get what I'm saying? It's discipline.
I do agree when you say that is what separates some people, especially in competition as well, that's what we're talking about more so, but I think that applies to life as well.
Definitely. Obviously, you have people that are talented, you've got your natural talents, you've got your people that maybe they have natural work ethic, but then you're only doing them things realistically. Physically, even if it was if you was physically capable to work in 10 hours in a day, yeah, 10 whole hours in a day. What about when you're going home? Are you sleeping? Are you, eating right? Are you doing all these other things? You can be in the gym all day. You can do all these things, all the things you're meant to be doing in terms of training, but the discipline comes outside of the gym. Like, I've got discipline to go to the gym every day, but then it's because I'm understanding that, okay, cool, I might not be going to gym now, but I'm going to have a fight somewhere down the line. I said this early in my career, I said in one of my interviews, I'm not training now, I'm not training for my now, I'm training for my future. I'm training for what I want to become, like what I see in the future. So I'm preparing myself for what I see in my head. All these things come into play with discipline. So Mike Tyson, again, a lot of he's one of them wise people, he spoke very intelligently from when he was young. I've always listened to things he said because as he's gone through life, he had that era where he was very humble and he's just appreciative to Customato, his guardian. And then he lost Customato, he went on a bit of a rampage, he lost his way. He went through that period, and then now he's an older man, Evander Holyfield's ear off, he went through that stage. Now he's more of a humble, God-fearing man, and you hear him talk about his past and reality and how he tries to dissect life. What about afterlife? What about God when you meet your maker? What about this? You think all that jewelry means anything? It means nothing. He got his belts and threw them in the garbage. I know you saw that. Mike Tyson, who worked his whole life for these belts and for this fame, and he picked them up and threw them in and said, "It's garbage, it's nothing. I bled for this is nothing." Do you get what I'm saying? So it shows you how your concept of life can change. So that's why I feel like something I've learned from Tyson, I've learned from going through my own life is always have that ability to change, accept change. Because the world's changing. Even now we're living, it's changed. We got internet now. We spoke about this earlier. We got internet. We got how things run. We got iPhones. We can watch a movie on our phone now. Things change consistently. So it's either you change with the times or you get left behind.
Where does your fight spirit come from? I don't mean in terms of a boxer, I mean you as a person. Where does that come from?
I think it can be a broad range of things. I think it can be the way I've chose to deal with my trauma, experiences I've been through, environment, family. I'll give one more. Ambition, probably. It's a ball of different things, and then what hangs on the end of it is a decision, a choice. Things happen to everybody. People know what I went through in 2019, 2020. I lost 5 family members in the space of months, and I'm still trying to be a professional boxer. I'm still trying to go out and perform in front of the world. People ain't going to appreciate that. They're going to see it. Did he win? They don't care about what's happening in the background. 5 family members, lost my dad, my grandparents gone, my auntie. So it's like, when you're going through them things, but you still got to go out there and deal with your ambition. You got to, life goes on. These people, are my family members going to want me to be moping around, or are they going to want me to go out and do what was making them proud of me? All these kind of things. So it's like, the choices you make, I feel like it makes you who you are really. So me, it's like there's something deep down within me. It's like I haven't got no. Maybe it's because I'm a Leo. That's why the whole lions in the camp thing comes. It's a mentality of like things happen, man. Like we all go through life. If I, God forbid, if I died tomorrow, I would want people in my family to spend my money wisely. I wouldn't want them to mope around and I'm not going to touch his money. It's his money. Go and spend the money, enjoy it. That's what I worked so hard for. I want you to take inspiration of how hard I worked. Work hard for yourself. I want us to live better than we did before. Do you get what I'm saying? So I can only take my mentality and how I see things and incorporate it into my own life.
Do you feel like you're ever having to fight demons? Do you have demons?
Nah. I feel like the only things that really exist in your life are things that you're allowed to exist over time. Some things are reality, again, we're gonna leave here, we're gonna go get something to eat, we're gonna, go home, we're gonna go sleep tonight, we're gonna wake up tomorrow. Certain things are just, course of life, it's natural, but I feel like the things that you accept are the things that become more of a reality in your life. Again, I'm 31 years old now. This is something I've realized. 10 years ago, the things I was doing every day, it was a reality. It's the reality I was living. I was worried about going to a certain area because them boys are there waiting. I will be sure to run into them boys that I'm thinking about. If I wasn't, nowadays, I'm a grown-ass man. I go where I want. You get what I'm saying? I'll go Hackney, I'll go to places where the gang culture is still there. It's just that in my situation, my reality, it ain't as potent as it was when I was younger. When I was younger, I was getting on bus, I was consistently looking around. Maybe that's trauma, maybe the time when I got a gun pulled out of me, that's like, I don't want it to happen again. You're so alert, but then you're trapped in that. That's what you're thinking about. You're going somewhere, you're already planning if it's gonna happen. And that's the same thing again about my career. I had in my mind, that's all I think about. Where I wanna be in life, my career. And you saw me early in my career. Like, who would have thought realistically I'll be here today? It's only by like, how?
We could have kind of guessed you would be.
You could have
but
guessed it. But
that's from the outside perspective as well.
But then again, if you think about it, how much other people could you have said, oh yeah, he's going to get there? They're not. How much people have you come across? You come across more people than me, because I don't really pay attention to it. I focus on myself. You've come across so much people, you go, he's a talent. He's going to be this. Where are they?
Yeah, but I think the first time, even when you turned over, there was always something, not just my perception of you at that age, however many years ago, but I think a lot of people had that hope for you. There was something about you, you ticked all the boxes that you have to be in today's world as a pay-per-view boxer, etc., etc. To be that kind of star in boxing, and not just your talent, but everything else, the boxes were ticked for you.
Thank you, bro. Yeah,
it's true, isn't it? It's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's what we see, do you know what I mean? You might have the same but a slightly different mentality of how to get there.
You know what?
And it's easy for us to say that as well.
I had this mentality, I think maybe 4 years before you met me. 4 or 5 years before you met me. In boxing. I had this mentality from when I was in school. I used to say to my teachers, the reason I'm not giving that effort is because I'm not gonna do that when I'm older. Some teachers used to say to me, you're gonna learn. All right, what if it don't work out? I'm like, it's gonna work out. Oh, what if you don't become a football player? I'm gonna become a football player. And if I don't become a football player, I'm gonna be a millionaire in something else. Because I know my future. I know what I'm gonna be. I'm not gonna be working a job, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I say this to every teacher in my school. If you can get hold of any teacher from Forest Gate School around the years I was there, they will all say I said the same thing to them. Anthony, you're not, you didn't pass RE, I don't care. I swear to you. Anthony, your performance in drama was an A star, your coursework, you got an F because you didn't do it. I don't care. For me, it's practical. Like, I used to say the same thing to all of them. I used to look at them and go, I used to make this face, and they always used to get annoyed with me. I used to go, Miss, sir, I don't care. I'll be honest with you, I care about my future, and what you're teaching me, sir, it's not going to benefit my future. I'm sorry. Some of them used to get so angry. So angry. But now, again, I've had a couple of messages over some of them saying, well done. You know, I see what you're doing. Congratulations. Yeah, man. Some people say you don't know what the future holds. You do know what the future holds if you believe in it, or if you know it.
At a stage in your life, you ever felt like you were fighting depression?
Yeah, man. Again, I will be honest about it. It's nothing to do with the person. It's nothing to do with it was definitely the situation. So when 2019, 2020 happened, initially, everyone knows what I was like, you know. My dad died, he died first. And I just had this armor on. I was trying to be a strong person for my whole family. You know, everyone, man, it's fine, man, it happens, it's life. And don't cry, man, don't cry. Like, the more you cry, it's gonna make it worse. And is that gonna help anything? Like, well, or you walk in a room, you get what I'm saying? And then I had this armor on. I told the world, which was a mistake. I put it on my Instagram.
Why was that a mistake?
Because at the time, I didn't realise that's going to follow me. Everyone's going to talk about it. When I'm ready now to, okay, I don't want to talk about it no more. I want to try and get on with my life. Everyone's asking me about it. This happened for a couple of years. Oh yeah, you know, even now, we know you went through this. I'm talking about it as well, but we know you went through this in this time. Oh yeah, you went through this, and yeah, we know you lost your dad, we know you lost your grandpa. It was consistent. I was consistently being reminded. I'll go out in the street, I'll go shop. Oh, I'm sorry, what happened to your dad? Oh, I'm so sorry, what happened? I just come to get some chips, bro. Or my local shop. Oh my gosh, I heard what happened to your dad. I'm sorry, let me pray for you. Consistently being reminded. And when you're being reminded about something, you call upon the emotion. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like that period happened, and then the first Linden Alpha fight happened. Didn't get the decision. I'm like, I won that fight. When I watched it back, I was like, that was a lot closer than I thought. What was I doing? My mind wasn't, I was going back to the wrong corner. It's like I was in a gaze. I shouldn't have been in the ring, but I was being so uplifting to everyone around me. Come on, man, let's get to work, man, let's work. Like, blah, blah, blah. But my mind, I wasn't there. But outside of the ring, I was going home, sitting in my room, not leaving. I was not leaving my room. Only time I left my room was to go to the toilet. That happened for months. But how is that? How are you possibly going to go out and fight in front of the world in lockdown when it's silent? I could hear every footstep. With boxing, I can hear everything. I can hear breathing. I can hear. It was just different, man. It was like it wasn't real. So that's the time when I can say it hit. After that fight, and how everything was happening, I was like, am I losing my career here? Am I losing everything I worked hard for? I've lost all these family members. Like, what's going on? I'm depressed. I'm sitting in my room. Again, I'm giving you the exclusives. I was peeing in plastic bottles. And there were like 15 plastic bottles in my room.
Because you didn't want to leave the room?
Didn't want to leave the room. I wanted to be caged in. I didn't want to leave. Every time I left, my mum might have tears in her eyes, because my mum, again, like, we had other things in the family just before COVID happened. So I would look at her, I see tears in people's eyes, or my family members' eyes. So I don't want to be strong right now. I just want to, do you know what I'm saying? I'll leave my room, again, to the gym. I'll still come to the gym, put on this face, laughing and joking, overly laughing. I leave the gym, I'm walking home, head down, turn off my phone. Don't leave the room for the whole day. Or I'll bring food into the room. I'll order Uber Eats. That's when I even discovered, I started using Uber Eats. I was like, wow, from my phone here, say nothing. They'll bring it to the door, I was going there, slamming the door, being quick, coming home, eating. There was rappers, everything. Do you know what I'm saying? It was mad. I don't live like that. And only when I realised, one day I was sitting there and I looked around and I was like, this is mad. Let me go for a walk. I swear to you, in about 3 months, I didn't go for a walk. Not once. Didn't go and check down on my friends. My boys were messaging me saying, I was like, no, I'm in camp. Wasn't even, don't have a fight coming up. Do you get what I'm saying? But yeah, when I realised it, when I looked back and I was like, bruv, I was depressed. That was depression. But again, I'm one of the people I say, you can't live in a moment because life carries on going. Kevin Hart said in an interview as well, minimize how long you stay in them kind of areas, but go through it. Because in the beginning, what I did was I tried to deflect it. It's fine. But I didn't ever mourn. But it didn't hit me at the wrong time.
You fight for yourself, you fight for your family, the community, yes. Your team. Who fights for you? Who's in your corner? Who backs you? I don't mean in a boxing sense, in life. Who's there for you, regardless of whether you're up or down?
That's a good question. Who fights for me? Only one person can come to mind, my mum. One person. And when I say my mum, I mean like her siblings, I mean like my sister, and it's not only now. My mum is one person that understands me. Sometimes people might hear that I might if I'm in a bad mood, I might talk to my mum a certain type of way. If you don't know me or you don't know us, people be like, why are you talking to your mum like that? Later on I'll go, oh mum, sorry. It's fine. If my mum's in the mood, she might talk to me a certain type of way. You laugh it off, all right mum. I kiss my mum, I start annoying her. because you understand each other. There's nobody on this planet that understands me like my mum. And my mum allowed me to be myself. That's why, through the good, through the bad, I will always have that homage to pay to my mum, because if she didn't allow me to be myself, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have learned the things I did. I feel like people that don't know me will say, oh, he's just that guy, he's that boxer. But people that know like the real me or the underlying me, Tunde says it all the time, you're an old man in a young body, because you're wise beyond your years. And I owe that to my mum. My mum allowed me to think. She didn't force things down my throat and say, you must do this, or that's wrong, or anything like that. All right, you learn for yourself. I wanted a tattoo on my neck when I was 15. I got this tattoo when I was 15. My mum said to me, I advise you don't get it. A tattoo on your neck. She gave me all the reasons why I shouldn't get it, but she goes, but it's up to you. It's your body.
Do you regret it now?
I didn't ever regret it. Every tattoo on my body, the first tattoo I ever got was, I got a tattoo on my arm saying, I'll do what I want. Listen to how that sounds. That sounds mad. That's a child. But then I look at that and I say, I'm never covering that, because it shows me how I was thinking at 15 years old. It sounds like, it sounds mad, but the way I meant it was, I do what I want to do. I'm a leader. I don't follow the crowd. But that's not what it says on my arm. Most people, when they read it, they'll be like, oh, you do what you want, yeah? But that's not how I meant it at the time. That's why I always thank my mum, because...
It shows your mentality, and from a young age,
yes,
to compare it to now. Have you got any girls' names on you?
never.
No.
No chance. You have, innit?
No, I've got my goddaughter.
Okay, that's
and
beautiful.
And my daughter.
That's beautiful.
That's
beautiful.
it.
That's beautiful.
This is an interesting question for you, because I ask people kind of in boxing, but are not boxers this, and it's always a different answer. Is it more difficult to fight physically as in your actions, or mentally as in your mind? What's more difficult?
I think it's a mixture. It's a mixture, because again, that period showed me that you can be fit. I was in shape that fight. I was in shape. I was fit. I was in shape. Mentally, I wasn't there, so it's nothing. It's not worth nothing. And then again, the second fight, I showed what I'm like, who the real me is. Like, I stopped the same guy in 4 rounds. Like, that's me. That's even how I was fighting. Even in the build-up, I said, "Oh my gosh, you guys saying about it's going to be a close fight or whatever." I said, "Hurry up," because if you're comparing, that was the best him. That was the best possible him, and I know what I'm capable of. He knows what I'm capable of. That's why they done everything they could not to have the fight. But again, I'm not on talking about the past. I wish him all the best going forward, but mentally, you have to be there. And it might be more mental, because if you're mentally there, you're going to train properly, everything. But then again, what if you're injured? So,
Bit of both.
Bit of both, but I thought mentally edges it, because you could get tired. Your mentality will drag you through. Your body listens to your mind. Yeah.
Last one. Answer this as you please, in whatever way you think the question is being asked. What drives that fight in you? What's the driving factor?
Experiencing the unknown, to me. I want to do all the things that I've seen before. You know, I want to be on private jets. I want to, I call it blessing, but it's not me that's blessing, it's God that does the blessing. But I want to be in that position where I'm able to be the person that can create opportunities. I'm a person, I thrive on giving people experiences. Like, I love making people happy. I love making people smile. That's what makes me feel happy. Every year, I take my whole family on holiday. These are the things I spend my money on. You know, I'm sponsored by Adidas, so I wear Adidas. It makes sense to me. My jewelry, again, is something that I can appreciate with value. I insure it. So as people say, oh yeah, he's wasting a lot of money or whatever, but to me, it's not wasted. You've insured your jewelry. It will still hold its value. You can melt the gold, you can keep the diamonds. But again, the part that makes me feel happy is taking my family away. Having experiences together, moments together, memories. The stranger I see on the street, buying them food if they ain't got no food. Going in the shop, I see a kid doing shopping. I see his mum there saying, no, we can't get that. Oh, why can't you get that from him? Why not? Oh, no, it's too expensive. I'll buy it for him. I've done that so many times. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Because I mean, when I was a child, I wanted trainers, and my mum at the time could afford it. She used to buy me trainers. I used to go to secondary school, £20 every day. But then I saw the other side to life where my mum's kind heart, I say this all the time, I'm like, Mum, I learned from you because you was too kind. You wanted to help everybody without helping yourself. So you got to a certain, my mum owned a club called Geneva's in Hackney. Doing very well, very successful club. But she wanted to help everybody. And I saw it from young. Who is this person? Who's this? Then the people she was trying to help ran her business to the ground. Everyone knows what Hackney's like. Men, gangsters, started getting involved, bringing in their people. Then it ended up being like a, you get what I'm saying? So I learned from that. I said, cool, you know, connect the dots. Don't make that mistake. But I got my good heart from my mum, probably, because I've seen it. You know, they say you condition from when you're young. Yeah, I saw my mum just give, you know. Even when people done her wrong, she was still, oh, Swan, give. I'm a bit different, I'm a bit more, no, back up, B. Stay over there, B. Yeah. Don't come around me, B. But yeah.
Okay, Anthony, appreciate your time. For the people listening, if you can hear a bit of Ilford culture here in the background, then apologies about that, but I think there was 3 police cars that drove past.
Maybe 2 ambulances.
We did ask them to stop the bag work down there. It's just started, so that's good timing for that to end, but yeah, it gives it a little bit more of a rustic Ilford feel, so.
It's real, man. Where again, that's what I'm saying. My environment was East London. Ilford's basically still East London. Everyone knows what Ilford's like. Stratford, Forest Gate, Hackney. These are the places I grew up. I like to still be around it to a certain extent. Keeps me grounded, keeps me being who I am. I'm still a boy from the ends. Even though I'm trying to outgrow it, I'm trying to show people a different way. Be the light, you know. Inspire who I can. Make it out the hood, as they say.
Thank you very much for listening to Raw the Fight Within with me, Kugan Cassius, and Anthony Yarde. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you next week. We're out.
Bam.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.